Hey, what's up, y'all? And the preview and prediction series continues with part 2 of the SEC West. So in this video, we've got Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. So we're going to get right into it with Auburn. So last year, Auburn last season was a disaster. It went 6-6, 6-7 after losing their bowl game, and they ended on a 5-game losing streak. Yes, so a bad first year under Brian Harsin. I mean, really, they should have kept Gus Malzahn. I think that the boosters are realizing that now, that they should have kept Gus. But anyway, so let's look at their offense first. Quarterback Bo Nix. My mom did go ahead and enter the transfer portal, and he transferred to Oregon. Right, so then, but they did get a quarterback transfer, Zach Calzada from Texas A&M. So really, it's a downgrade at quarterback. Anyway, and then their running backs, I think that they're good at the running back position. Yes, they do bring back running backs. Tank Bigsby. He had over 1,000 yards last year. And Jarquez Hunter, who was the backup running back, and I think that he's pretty good too. But anyway, and then Auburn does lose 2 of their top 3 receivers from last year. Got Kobe Hudson, transferred to UCF. I guess he had decided he's had enough of Brian Harsin. He'd like to go back to playing for Gus. So Kobe Hudson, jumping back on the Gus bus at UCF. And then we got Demetrius Robertson, finally ran out of eligibility after 6 years. And then, but they did bring back Cedric Jackson, right? And they also brought back Javarius Johnson, and they still have so he's a little but fast wide receiver, and they also still have tight ends John Samuel Shanker and Tyler Fromm, Jake Fromm's little brother. And then defense, you do lose 5 starters on defense. Yep, linebackers, Zacoby, McLean, Chandler, Wooten. Yep, those two are also your top two tacklers. Yes, and linebacker TD Moultrie. And then as well as safety Smoke Monday. And cornerback Roger McCreary. But you do still bring back both your starting defensive ends, Colby Wooden and Derek Hall. And then cornerback Nehemiah Pritchett and linebacker Owen Popo. But anyway, so I guess I should move on to the schedule. So you start out week 1 against Mercer, and Mercer, an FCS team. That should be a very easy win. And then you've got San Jose State. And I mean, I know that they had a good year in 2020. But outside of that, they're normally not any good. So that should be another easy win. And then you've got Penn State. Of course, you lost to Penn State last year up at Penn State. And it's time they're coming down to play. And I think that they are going to, beat you again. I just think that they're a lot just better coached. I mean, Penn State, probably a little bit more talented, maybe, but mostly just better coached. I do trust James Franklin more than Brian Harsin. So, but anyway, and then you've got Missouri. Now Missouri's terrible. I already did Missouri, so you already know that I have Auburn beating Mizzou. And then we've got LSU. I know I did LSU yesterday, so you know where I'm going with this. And because this is, a home game. If this was on the road, I'd probably give it to LSU. But I'm gonna give you a win against LSU. Go Tigers. But anyway, yes, that's a win. Now moving on, we've got so you're gonna start out 4-1. That's right, and then you don't play a road game until week 6, and you've got Georgia. And obviously, this is gonna be a loss. Georgia's just the way better team. So, and you've got at Ole Miss. I also have this as a loss to Ole Miss. And the Lane Train. And then next, you've got your bye week. Come out of that, and you play Arkansas. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you a win here, because it's at home. So I'll go ahead and get and give you Arkansas. Then you're at Ole Miss, going to the Cowbells. That's a loss. Then you got Texas A&M. And I have that as a loss. I already did my Texas A&M preview, so you already know. And I had Western Kentucky. Now I think that Western Kentucky is not going to be as good this year as they were last year. I mean, didn't they won 10 games last year, 9 games, or whatever. And they had their quarterback, Bailey Zappi, who threw for 5,000 yards, or 6,000 yards, but he's gone now. And Western Kentucky couldn't even beat a 2-win Indiana last year. So I've got Auburn beating Western Kentucky, and then we got go back on the road to play Alabama. Now, if this was at home, I'd give you a chance, but since it's on the road, it's going to be a giant L. So that brings Auburn's record out to 6-6 and 3-5 in the SEC. So now moving on to Ole Miss. So of course last year was a really good season for Ole Miss. Let's see, a 10-win season, right? They were 10-2 in the regular season, and then lost to Baylor in their bowl game. So then that put them at 10-3. It was, much better than things have been for Ole Miss. They had really been, going through a rough patch over the last 5 years or so. But anyway, and of course, Ole Miss, is known for a lot of offense, right? The head coach Lane Kiffin, known as an offensive genius. The Lane train, right? So anyway, I guess we will start with offense. So let's see. Quarterback Matt Corral is gone to the Carolina Panthers, but they did get Jackson Dart from USC. So yes, he was a 5-star quarterback recruit. So and then he did get some playing time last year when the regular starter Keaton Slovis was injured. So and anyway, and then so at their running back, if they do lose the 3 running backs, and they had Jerrion Ely and Snoop Connor to the draft, and Henry Parrish transferred to Miami, so their top 3 quarterbacks gone. But don't worry, they did get running back Zach Evans from TCU. Yep, a former 5-star. It was the number 1 running back in his class. So I guess so they'll be okay at they'll be more than okay at running back. So and then let's look at their receivers. So Dontario Drummond and Braylon Sanders, both gone to the NFL, but they do bring back Ja'Cour Pearson, Jonathan Mingo, and Dennis Jackson. So so their next 3 wide receivers from last year. And they also got some more out of the transfer portal. They got Malik Heath from Mississippi State, and Jalen Robinson from UCF. So, yeah, so they're still going to be loaded at receiver. So, I mean, so I don't really have any concerns about Ole Miss's offense. And then as for on the defense, yeah, they were devastated at linebacker by the draft and the portal. Yeah, 3 linebackers drafted were Chance Campbell, Mark Robinson, and Sam Williams, and then Muhammad Momo Sanogo, transferred to I forgot where he transferred to, but anyway, it was Louisville. But most of their defensive line is still intact. They did lose a couple of defensive backs, but they do bring back Otis Reese in that defensive backfield, and they also bring back Katie Hill, their big defensive tackle. So, but anyway, so now let's get into the schedule. So you see, they start out with Troy. Now Troy used to be good, but now they're not anymore since Neil Brown went to West Virginia. So, and then since then they've really been terrible. So, and then you've got Central Arkansas, so that will be an easy win. And you got Central Arkansas, they're an FCS team, so you're just going to obliterate them. And you got at Georgia Tech. Yeah, Georgia Tech is terrible. 3 wins each of the last 3 years. You should destroy them. And you've got Tulsa. Another easy win. You should win by 30 or 40. So, so September schedule, very easy. And then you get Kentucky at home. On homecoming, that's really your first true test, and I think you pass. So I already had you beating Kentucky when I did Kentucky. So, and the next you play at Vandy, and Vandy's terrible. You'll just completely annihilate them. And then you've got Auburn, and so I just did Auburn, so I think you beat them too. So you're starting 7-0, but you really ain't played nobody to this point. But then you've got at LSU, and of course I already did LSU in my last video, but so I do have you going on the road and getting upset by LSU. And then you're at Texas A&M, and I just did Texas A&M. I think you beat them. I think A&M is overrated. So, and then that brings you to your bye week. And after that, 3 more games. You've got Alabama. No, I just did Alabama. Yes, Alabama's going to win this game. Yeah, I think they're I think they're I hear that they're a really good team. So yes, that's a loss, and then you're at Arkansas. I have this as a loss mostly because it's on the road, and then finish the season. You get Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving, right? And my mom. And yeah, so I think you're gonna beat Mississippi State. Yeah, so looks like that's gonna bring your record to 9-3 and 5-3 in the SEC. And now moving on to Mississippi State. Yes, so last year Mississippi State was 7-5, and 7-6 after they lost their bowl game to Texas Tech, and so this will be their Mississippi State's third year with Mike Leach, right? And of course he is well known for his air raid offense that he ran at like Texas Tech and more recently Washington State. Of course, with the Mike Leach offense, you can always count on him having a quarterback throw for over 4,000 yards. So then last year, Will Rogers did throw for over 4,000, almost 5,000 yards. And so Will Rogers is back. I think he's a good quarterback. And then they do return their running backs, although they don't run the ball a whole lot. But they do bring back their duo of running backs and Dylan Johnson and Jaquavius Marks. And that they don't run the ball much, but they both had around 400 or 500 yards. Think that they combined for 1,000. But they are also the running backs are also utilized as receivers out of the backfield a lot too. So probably about they both had about as many receiving yards as they did rushing yards. So and then with your wide receivers, you do lose your number one receiver, Malachi Polk, to the NFL draft. He's now with the Ravens, and then you also had Malik Heath transferred to Mississippi State. Yep, he went over to the. He was at Mississippi State, right? But he transferred to Ole Miss, so he went to the dark side. But they do bring back Jaden Wally and Austin Williams. So yeah, and they got a couple of wide receivers out of the portal. So, but anyway, so and then The defense, yeah, looks good. You return 9 of 11 starters return. So you did lose a cornerback, Martin Emerson, but you did get a cornerback out of the portal from Florida State, Hunter Washington. So, and then you do lose Aaron Brule or Brule to the transfer portal. But he was more known for his name than anything else. But he wasn't even the best player on the defense. I mean he was really only the third best linebacker. So still have they still have Jet Johnson and Nathaniel Watson. So, but anyway, so now moving on to their schedule. So they do start out week 1 with Memphis. Now I know that you lost to Memphis last year, but that was on the road, and this time you'll be ready for them. You're not overlooking them, so I do have you getting your payback from last year. And then next you are at Arizona. Yeah, Arizona is garbage. You'll beat them. I think they only won like one game last year. So, and then you're at LSU, and I already did LSU, so you have a loss here because it's on the road at LSU. So, and then you play Bowling Green, and that'll be an easy win. Bowling Green is terrible even for a group of 5 team. So, and then next you play Texas A&M, and yes, I already did Texas A&M, so you know I have Mississippi State beating A&M. And then you play Arkansas, and yes, I do have you beating Arkansas. And now moving on to at Kentucky. Of course, I know that you beat Kentucky last year at home. This time you go on the road, and I already did my Kentucky preview, so I do think you lose to Kentucky. And then you've got at Alabama. Now this one is a loss, obviously. And then next is your bye week. And then you come out of that and you play Auburn, and that's a win. And then you've got Georgia. Now this is a potential trap game for Georgia, but I already did Georgia, so you should know that I have you losing to Georgia. And then next you got ETSU, East Tennessee State. That'll be an easy win. You should destroy them. And then you've got your at Ole Miss, and I think I already did Ole Miss in my last video. So I do have you losing to Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving. So I think that does put your record at 7-5. and 3-5 in the SEC. So same record as last year. I guess with one less SEC win. And now moving on to Arkansas. Last year, Arkansas had a really good season, considering where they came from. You know, winning like 2 games with Chad Morris. I know that my mom Sam Pittman has really turned it around. Whereas Arkansas was 8-4 last year, 9-4 with a bowl win over Penn State. They do bring back their quarterback, KJ Jefferson, and I mean he's a tank. Yeah, so he's really good at running the ball, running downhill, and of course he can throw the ball too. So and anyway, and then at their yeah, so they have a really good run game. Of course, I already mentioned KJ Jefferson running the ball. And of course, they did lose Traylon Smith to the transfer portal to UTSA, but they did bring back 2 other running backs, Raheem Sanders and Dominic Johnson, who were both also really good, kind of a 3-headed monster between the 3 of them. So, and then wide receivers, Traylon Burks gone to the NFL. I think it's with the Titans. But so they do bring back a lot of number 2 wide receivers, but really no go-to wide receivers, guys like Tyson Morris, Warren Thompson, Devian Warren, and Trey Knox, but they do get Jaden Hazelwood out of the transfer portal from Oklahoma, and he's a former 5-star. So, yeah, really hasn't really panned out at Oklahoma, but now he gets a fresh start at Arkansas, and he'll be he's the best the best wide receiver on the team right away. So, and then defense, they did lose 5 starters on the defense, 3 to the NFL and 2 to the portal. Linebackers, yes, they did lose Grant Morgan, but they did bring back Bumper Pool, and Hayden Henry. So, and then they did lose their big defensive tackle, John Ridgeway, and they lost defensive back Monteric Brown. But and then they did have safety Joe Fosha and cornerback Ray Brooks Jr. both transferred to LSU. But not to worry, because they did get safety Latavius Brini from Georgia and cornerback Dwight McGlovern from LSU. So I think defensively, they're going to be fine. So how about we get into the schedule? So I'm going to start out week 1 against Cincinnati. And I know Cincinnati made the playoffs last year, but they're going to take a big step back this year, losing like Desmond Ritter and Sauce Gardner and others. So they're not going to be as good as they were last year. So I think Arkansas will get the win. And the next they got South Carolina. Now I already did South Carolina, so you know where I'm going with this, but I've got you beating South Carolina. And then Missouri State, that'll be an easy win. You'll destroy them. And then you get Texas A&M, yes, in Arlington, Texas. Yes, why is this played at a neutral site? I don't know. Oh yeah, you did beat A&M last year, so revenge game for A&M. I do think that they get you back this year. And then next, you play Alabama, and that's a loss, obviously. And then you're at Mississippi State. I've got you losing this one in Mississippi State, right? Mostly because it's on the road. Yeah, to the Cowbells. And the next you're at BYU. I think that BYU not going to be as good this year as they were last year. They did lose their that really good running back Tyler Algier to my Falcons. So, but anyway, so so I think you're gonna go on the road and beat BYU. And then you've got your bye week. And then next you play at Auburn. I just did Auburn, so you know that I have you losing to Auburn. Then you got LSU. No. Next, Liberty. And Liberty's not going to be as good this year because they lost their quarterback, Malik Willis. So I think that's a win. And you got LSU and Ole Miss, back-to-back home games. And I have you win both of those. And then to end the season, you're at Missouri. And Mizzou's terrible. You should have no problem beating them. Now, so that does put you at 8-4, right? And 4-4 in the SEC. Okay, yeah. So that wraps up the SEC. So I guess next I will move on to the other conferences. So be looking for those videos coming soon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all again next time.